Hello there, my name's Dawn from Shelley Keyxstitch. I've decided to do a Flosstube today, and as requested I've got my Scotland mug, because last time I showed a Great Britain mug and I was asked, could you please also show a Scottish mug? Of course I can. I've got different Scottish mugs, but I prefer this one at the moment today for coffee. Yes, I'm very particular which ones can have coffee in and which ones can't. This one can. I've noticed that when I do Flosstubes or when I watch Flosstubes, I prefer to drink coffee. I don't know why, because actually I'm a tea drinker. Well, I drink both, but I'm half British, so I drink tea, black tea. In the mornings when I get up, I have to have my black tea. Do not talk to me before I've had my black tea. That's just a rule. Don't go between me and my black tea. That's a thing. It's real. Just when I've had my black tea, you can talk to me, and then everything's fine. It doesn't matter if I had breakfast before or after. I need my black tea. Yeah. But when I do Flosstubes, apparently I have to drink coffee. I don't know. It's probably because you all drink coffee. Yeah, I say Bendy said so, or Lolly said so, or I don't know. No, it's not. But and I slurp. It's my channel. I didn't know I slurp, but apparently I slurp. It's hot. Oh yeah, and it's got what you can't see. It's got the Scottish flag in there, but if I show you, I'll tip out my coffee, so I can't. But Scottish Stitcher, hope you like that one. Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm a bit behind on answering my YouTube comments. Don't know why. Somehow I'm just not really into commenting, and lots of people. I have an Instagram account. I have two Instagram accounts, and one of them is for cross stitch only, for me, where I only show my cross stitch. I do show other things on it because it's my main Instagram. The other one I hardly use, but I actually try to follow people who do cross stitch. So when somebody new requests to follow me, or I find them and I want to follow them, I choose somebody who does cross stitch because that's what I want to see there. And of course there are multi-crafters, like Anne P, for instance, who does stitching and knitting, so I get her knitting on it. And I follow Camilla, who's got a knitting blog, I don't know, and she actually does display her stuff in a shop, and goes in a shop and sells some of her stuff, and that's all knitting. So I do see knitting, but like my other friend, Kitten Tree Gifts, on Etsy, the one who did the lovely needle minders for me, she crochets little animals, and she cross stitches and stuff. But those are my friends, so I see their stuff as well, and I don't really mind. But now lots of people have started knitting, like the Flosstube community has started knitting, so now I get all these knitted rectangles, and it's, I have so many people that I want to follow, and then I got all this knitting and I just have to scroll past it, but it's getting very tiring, and that's why I'm not very active on Instagram at the moment, and don't really check it or like stuff on there at the moment. That's just me. Okay, so I'll get over it. I will, of course I will. I won't stop following people just because of that. It's just, at the moment it's too much for me and I don't want to see it, and that's why I'm not on Instagram so often, and I'll get back to it all. That's just why my phone was still sort of lying there. I was actually quite blessed with Stitchy mail, happy mail. So yeah, as you all know, well, most of you know, Bendy Stitchy did a live D-stash sale, and I've got my stuff now. It came, so thank you, Michelle. But she also included in my order, I won't show what she sent me out because it's just too much, but I wanted to say that for one of the patterns that I got from her sale, she put lots of DMC floss in there. Thank you, Michelle, because it really does help me. It's really nice. And I think there was this, where did I put it? Yeah, there was a speciality thread in there. It's Mo sale, and it's blue and yellow, orange. It's more orange than you can see, but that's lovely. So thank you for that. So special threads, I haven't really used them yet because I don't know what for. So because I go and buy DMC for specific projects, so I've got my floss, so, but doesn't matter. And she sent me from Teesdale a card, and I thought it was actually quite funny because I collect stamps. I used to collect stamps from all over the world. Now I only collect stamps from Switzerland and the UK. And she's been sending these stamps, these cards that have a stamp on them, and it's usually white, and then you have to stamp, and on a stamp it'll tell you at the bottom where it is, like what it is, it's a bridge or whatever, famous bridge, and then it'll say like Edinburgh, so you know where it's from, and then it'll have the picture, and then it'll have on the top there, it'll have the Queen head, you just see the Queen's head, and it'll say pounds and then the amount of the stamp, and there's a whole series of these stamps. Sorry, something wrong with my camera. Yeah, don't know what went wrong there. Anyway, so you see the pound sign and how much the stamp is worth, and it was just quite funny to see Pam and Steph trying to work out what they're seeing on this card and why is the Queen's head on there and what it is, and they didn't realise that it's a stamp. There's a whole series, there's quite a lot of them. It has failed quite a lot in my book, and it was just funny because a bit later on they actually, Pam is going to stitch a US stamp. So they showed a kit for a US stamp, and I didn't realise that the card that I got from Bendy Stitchy was actually a stamp, because you could see the serrated edges. So yeah, and me who collects stamps, I get at least it's from Scotland. No, England. This is from England. So thank you anyway. I like cards. I like all types of cards. I've got them, or you can't see, but I've still got my Christmas cards up there, and postcards go up like there. So, yeah. And what Bendy Stitchy, thank you so much, because she dyed me some fabric. She showed it on her channel, so I won't really go into it, but it's just, look at these colours, and they don't even show up properly on camera, but I mean, this is beautiful. It's thank you so much, because I can't get anything like this in Switzerland, and these are my colours, so thank you so much for doing that, for just thinking of it and asking, do you want some dyed fabric? Yes please, and thank you so much. It's so nice to get that. So now I'll have to find something to stitch on it. Yeah. That was from Bendy Stitchy. So then I got Stitchy Bex. She's an Instagram and Flosstube, and she showed these little clips that lots of you are using. I have a few. I have about 6 of these in red. So I know you can buy them in Switzerland, but you can't buy them online. And Stitchy Bex had found on Amazon, she found a tin, a really sweet little tin with about 100 of these in them. on Amazon, quite cheap. And she got them and she showed them on Flosstube, on Facebook. And I just commented, oh, I love those because they'd really helped me, because I roll my fabric, as you might know, I roll my fabric. And then I use these to hold it in place. And with just 6 of them and all the projects that I've got going, I haven't got enough. And so I went to Amazon and I saw that they have them. They even have long ones. Long ones would have been good. And then I say international shipping, and then I still list them, and I go and I say I want to buy this, and then it says we don't deliver to Switzerland. Yeah, well, that's no help. So I can find them everywhere, but they don't ship to Switzerland. And I know you can buy them in Switzerland, but as you know, I don't go shopping, I can't go shopping, so I'll have to find them online. And Stitchy Bex was so kind, and she said, look, I've got 100, I'll send them all. And no, I don't need 100, but she sent me, I think, 20 of them. So now I've got floss all over me. Well, your stitches, you're used to that. So she sent me a lovely card, isn't that? That's just beautiful. With a little note, of course, for me. And she sent me the clips. So thank you very much. That is so greatly appreciated, because I used them for everything. So yeah, that was number 3. I say I'm not organised like I would. Yes. I told you last time that Kerry in Stitches, she's on Flosstube. She's British. She's a really lovely lady. You'll like her. She makes tiny biscornues. And she's doing these giveaways like Bendy Stitchy does. But she's actually got not only patterns out of magazines, she's also giving away some of the packs that you get free with these magazines. So she does a few giveaways like on every Flosstube. I think she does them bi-weekly. And as she hasn't got that many followers like Bendy Stitchy does, you actually have a chance of winning, because the first time she did it, there were 3 people who entered. Like 1, 2, 3 people who entered. So, oh, sorry, I got this in the wrong order. So, I saw this little man, and I've got the storybook, and I loved him. I've still got the book. The Snowman. And I saw this, and I thought, well, I'll enter my name for it, because I love him. And 3 people, no, I think 2 people entered for this. 2. So I won! Yay! So with Bendy Stitchy, I've entered for quite a few things, and then she has like 80 people, and yeah, so you have more chances winning good stuff from an English person in the UK. So if you're British, you get it probably the next day or 2 days later when you've won. So go and try her, really, because she put together a care package for me. It came today, so I've got the snowman to stitch. She also included, because when she started doing it, I asked her if there's any Joan Elliott patterns, and yes, I've got this one, which she was kind enough to gift me. And I mean, it's from a magazine, so it's just, now I've got a Joan Elliott to stitch. And I was actually surprised. I just had a glance at it, and this is for Stitching Mummy. Stitching Mummy did a tutorial on fractional stitches on Ada and how she does it, and they show it here, how to stitch 2 fractionals, like when you have like a sort of a line going down and a small symbol in one half and another little symbol in the other half. And she said that when backstitch goes through it, she'll just do like a quarter stitch on this side and a quarter stitch on the other side, and then let the back stitch do like the diagonal, which is the way I would do it. If you don't have that, choose the more dominant color, which it also shows here. You do like a quarter stitch of one color and like a 3/4 stitch, like a quarter stitch, and then the diagonal in the dominant color. But what they say here is, if you have 2 fractionals and a back stitch going through it, you should do 2 3/4 stitches, like 2 times, so you have like 2 diagonal ones, and then do the back stitch through that. That doesn't make sense, but it does say that on here. It does actually say it. It's the bottom symbol. I can't really show you. You can't really see it, but that's what it says here. And I think it's totally strange, because then it gets really bulky, and to get it to lay straight, and so I prefer the method that Stitching Mummy does, because I do it like that, and seeing this was just a bit confusing. So I don't know. But anyway, I've got Joan Elliott, so that. She included some, I didn't know they do spring editions, dairy milk. As I said, I got this today, that's why it's still here. Well, I got home, and then, yeah. She included 2, I know, it's boring, floss. It's Chaudhry Designs. One is Burns Night, and the other is Blue Green Guppy. Now this, yes, it's sort of blue and green, which you probably can't see, doesn't matter. And this is lovely. It's blue, greens, whites. They're both beautiful, lovely. Thank you very much. I'm building up a collection. That's fun. And she wrote me a little note, and she said she wanted to send me a little parcel with my charts, and hopes it brings me a smile. And then she says, in brackets, I've just realised that's on the card too. Thank you. And the best bit about this parcel, that was just, you know, sort of normal stitchy mail as you get, sort of, yeah, every day. No, she gifted me one of her scissor fobs, and it's got a little hanger with a hand there, that, don't know if you can see it, and it says handmade. So she makes these. I know that she makes these because she showed them before, and I really love this one. This one's beautiful. And this is a biscornu that she stitched herself. Now you can see it. And that's on the end of a scissor fob, and it's got a backside, but it's just the bead in there that pulls it together. I mean, look at this. This is a piece of art. And to know that she stitched this, and it's just beautiful. Thank you so much. So, oh, I've only got one scissor fob. I've got 3 scissors. I know where to put it. So, thank you for that. And like I say, go and watch Carrie Stitches. She's nice. She stitches lovely stuff. And these biscornus, she does really tiny biscornus. I think this is a really big one. It's definitely worth it. Go and watch her. Then somebody else who gifted me. Yeah. Hello, Shelley. You know I have to. Yeah. I'll tell you a little story. You've probably already seen Shelley's latest Flosstube. If you haven't, please watch Shelley Keyxstitch. She went to a sort of knitting stitch thing, I don't quite know, where there were lots of vendors, and she bought lots of wool for knitting hats and socks and whatever. She met Anne P. And as she went and she said, you know, hello, and I know Dawn Frosty Keyxstitch that and Sarah Stitching Mummy, and they're in your Full Coverage Fanatics Facebook, and I know that you're on Flosstube. What she didn't say is that Shelley Keyxstitch does Flosstube herself. Shelley, tell Anne P that you do Flosstube. She'll watch you, and now I've outed you, so I hope Anne watches. I know that sometimes she watches my Flosstube. Anne P, Shelley, who you met and took a picture with, has her Flosstube channel, Shelley Keyxstitch. Go and watch her. Anyway, sorry Shelley, had to be. She sent me some wool for socks for a friend of me to knit, and also floss for somebody else, and she sent me black and white floss, DMC, because you cannot have enough, and yeah, that's really, it's, yeah, needed desperately always. And I said I'm stitching, well, started stitching Santa's Village, and because I'm doing it on cream coloured Ada, you can't do white snowflakes, they just don't show up. So I wanted to use Sparkle Braid, and I didn't quite know which one to use, and she sent me two. Now I just have to choose which one. I want to do it like one strand of white DMC, yes, DMC, and then one strand of this, because it's like filament, so it's quite thin, and I'll have to check out which one will look better, so that you actually can see that there are snowflakes there, because otherwise you just don't see it, and that's a shame, because the snowflakes are a big part of Santa's Village. But she also gifted me, well, for one there was a lovely card of a stitched, knitted, sorry, yes, I'm confused, I get my words tumbled up. That's sweet, isn't it? I love rabbits. Yep, another card to put up. She went to Disney World, I think, as a supervisor, what do you call them? Yeah, mums and dads who go along with kids from, or is it music, I think, band, who went to Disney World. And you can smash these coins. Wendy Stitchy told us about that, and she said she already had some and she was going to do some more, and she sent me two. She told me that she would send me this one. It's If You Can Dream It, You Can Do It, and it's got castle on it, and it probably won't show up, maybe you can see it. So that's made into a needle minder, so I love that one. And she included this one, and it's Mickey the Pirate, A Pirate's Life for me, and then it's got 3 skull and crossbones at the bottom. I know you can't see, it's too small, but yeah, that'll go on my Santa with a candy cane peg leg when I start stitching him. He's all ready to go, I just haven't started him, but yay! You can't have enough needle minders, but I'm not buying any anymore, so anything I get gifted, fun. And she was stitching something, I think she was stitching a hedgehog for her mum, and she just showed me what she was doing, and isn't that sweet? I love this guy. It's just, I mean, it's a hedgehog. He's got a Santa hat on. He's got a book in his hands. I mean, okay, he's singing, but I mean, how much better can it get? The colours are great. It's a hedgehog. And she put him in this great little frame. And yeah, Christmas 365. It's going to be up. And it's going to be up like the Still Ingeborg's what is it? I can't read it from here. It says snow something rather snow. With that's still hanging, and it's going to hang all year, and this is going to be up all year, because I mean, stitched gifts from friends are just, yeah. As this, I was asked last time what this was around my neck. It's a scarf, shawl, whatever. Yeah, this was knitted by Camilla. She is her shop is on Etsy. It's called Milamul. I'll link it below. And she does scarves like this, small ones, you know, just tiny, sort of. And this is great. It's great. I got that for Christmas once, and I just love it. So, yeah, that's very well done, and it's knitted, not stitched. So, thank you, Shelley. So, oops, careful, needle minders. So, yeah, Sammy Keyxstitch, yeah, that's her Flosstube name. She did a new setup. When she does Stitch with Me, she usually stitches heights, and then you can see her stitching, and I think that's quite good for heights. I like that. She tried something new when she was at work. She couldn't sort of get her camera to do that, and she was stitching something else. So she basically positioned the camera like I have it now. So it's like you're sitting opposite her, and you can just sit there, stitch, have a cup of tea, coffee. While she sits there, stitches, talks to you. She has the pattern below the camera, so she always looks up again, and she talks to you, and it's just a new setup for a Stitch with Me, and I think it's really good. Because if she has something to show, she'll show you, you know, like I'm doing this here and I'm doing this there, but she'll talk to you, and it's still a Stitch with Me, and you don't have to see every stitch that goes in and out, because most people do actually do something else while you're doing a Stitch with Me, like, well, okay, I tend to go to sleep during Stitch with Me, but I do stitch, or I might do the dishes, or I might do something else, and then I'll just sort of glance up and look and see what they're doing. So I don't watch every stitch. And I just thought, if she does it like that, maybe I can do a Stitch with Me like that, because I haven't got a camera set up to do filming from here or whatever. So I thought that was a good setup. And I just said, heights, I would like to see her stitching heights. That I would like to see, but if she stitches something else, like this is actually quite fun. It's like a tea time. I go and visit. And as I talk back to people, I talk to my TV all the time. So if somebody's doing a Flosstube, I actually sometimes answer or give a comment, and they just don't talk back. So it's the same. It's a Stitch with Me the same way. I did actually have with Shelley and with Andrea from I Heart XStitch, we did Skype and stitch together, and that was really, really nice, because not stitching alone and having somebody to talk to. But I was on holiday, so I was off work, so I could basically, because of time difference and me being tired after work, it doesn't usually fit in, but as I had some free time and we could just fit it, that was really nice. And talking to I Heart XStitch, I mean, I already had the feeling I know her, and I've talked to her, because I have talked to her. She's just never talked, well, she talked to me, I talked to the screen, but sitting there talking to her and actually getting answers, it was as if I've known her, as if I've had coffee afternoon stitching with her before. It was really nice. So yeah. Then I want to shout out somebody who's relatively new. She's already done, I think, 5 Flosstubes and 1 Stitch with Me. Her Flosstube name is Tiffin Stitches. She's got a little boy, and she's joined our Facebook group for the XStitch winter snow with us, because she also is stitching one of the chalk pieces. I think she's doing the fresh eggs farm. Yes, she is. She started that, and I just thought that was the first Flosstube I saw. I think it was her number 4, where she said she's going to start that, and I just commented and said, you know, we're stitching sort of these chalk pieces, and if she would like to join, she can post in there. And she joined, and I thought that was fun. And already then she had, in the morning, she had posted, because she already had stitched on that piece. So when I got up in the morning, I already saw some progress. So yeah, go over, check her out. I don't know what my comment was there. I don't know why I wrote that. Probably come up later. So that was number 7, 8, 9, number 10. Yeah, thank you to everybody, because I showed my Haid last time. I'm doing Celtic Cross, as I mentioned. If you haven't seen it, just you can see it in my last Flosstube. And I said that I'm having problems, because for me, like, now when I see it from further away, or when I see it on camera, I can see that there's something there, and it's not just all black and dark blues. There is a pattern there, and it took me ages. I mean, this, I don't know how long I've stitched on this, but now I've gone down, so I've done the bottom of the page, so I know where I've got to go to. And I just asked for help, because this is my first page of my first Haid. I've got other Haids that I want to stitch, and if I give up, oh look, I can see the pattern from here. Wow, I've never seen it like that before. If I look at it, it's all just black. So yeah, so many people commented, helped me, so thank you so much for that. For everybody who commented, or like Ladybug Stitcher, she's from Australia. She replied to my comment, because I asked her, you know, how do you stay motivated with all these full coverage projects? And she gave me a few tips. And she also, in one of her Flosstubes, said it all again. And it's just hearing it again and hearing it from others. Just, you know, put in maybe 1 strand of floss or 10 stitches a day, and then go and work on something that you like, and or walk away and then come back and see the whole, like, look at the whole picture like I'm doing now. You'll see a pattern emerging, and then it'll be fun again. And it hasn't before, and now it has. And Sarah, Stitching Mummy, I said I'm doing full crosses, and I was wondering if I could switch while I'm stitching now to 10th stitch. And Sarah Mummy's Stitching Mummy, Sarah, thank you, she said yes, I should just try it for the coverage, that the coverage stays the same. And she just commented that she saw that I'm still doing full crosses. That is because I'm still using the same colour, and I want to do just basically do this colour because it's just consistent, going back and forth, so I can do that. And I've tried it now with the blue, and I'm still trying out if 3 or 4 strands will be okay. And it does actually, I have a few half stitches in there now, and I can't see the difference. So I'm going to slowly, with different colours, do like half stitches, and others do full crosses, and then go into full half, go into only half stitches. So that's sort of my plan. So Stitching Mummy, I'm still on that. So yeah, it was a help to have somebody who does lots of full coverage tell me that yes, it is okay, and yes, you can do it. You just have to check the coverage and it'll work. And I've seen now that it does work, so that's my goal. But I'm not stitching every day at the moment. So okay, so you've seen one of my projects. I do actually show stitching on this Flosstube. I just want to mention that thank you to everybody who commented. Lots of people commented, and it was really nice, and it does help. It really does help. Because the other project that I have is a full coverage as well, but it's not a Haid. so it's only got like 4 pages, and they're mixed up differently, and the symbols are different. The symbols on the head are just, you can't see what you're stitching, and on this other project it's like it's a kit, and you can see, even though you have symbols, you can sort of see what it's going to be, and this is going to be steam there, and this is going to be this, so you can sort of see what you're stitching, which on a head you can't. You just can't. You have arrows going this way, arrows going that way, arrows this way, that way, then you have arrows that are thick, you have arrows that are thin, you just have no idea what you're doing, and you can't see a sort of pattern on a page. So it's very, very difficult to visualise what you're stitching, until, like Ladybird Stitcher said, you walk away and you come back and you think, oh, there's a whole pattern there. So yeah, that really helped. Then that's, oh yeah, I'm on my last, number 12, yes, number 12 is my last one, good. So I'm going to show you my stitching now. Okay, I had to frog this project, and I then put it in timeout. For those who have not seen this yet, I'm stitching this because I like the sentiment there. Now, I don't believe in God, so I don't know the Bible, I'm not into that stuff, but I've got a really good friend. She had the room next to me at university in Edinburgh, and we still are in contact. We still write to each other, we send each other Christmas presents, and I just thought that she would like it. And this was a freebie that I got when I ordered some, I can't remember what I ordered or where I ordered. And this was a freebie that I got, and I then got this, my first sort of linen from Big Apple Stitcher. She just put out her Olympic vlog, I think yesterday. So go and watch that, it's quite fun. She gave me this linen, and it's sparkly, so I had to put something on it, and I found this and I thought that was perfect. So I started my project, and of course I made mistakes. At the bottom I had problems with backstitch, but then it sort of started going quite well, and then I came up here and I was off by, you know, one of these half things, because you have to go over 2, not with Ada. With Ada you can't really go wrong. So I was off, and I had the frog, and the whole thing, it just had to go in timeout. So anyway, I frogged what I had up here. It was quite a lot that I frogged, and I've already put in the first line there, so put that back in. And yeah, so I'm stitching on this again because I want to get it finished, because the pattern's going to Bendy Stitchy afterwards. She asked for it because she said she's actually been on the lookout for that one. And yes, I'm using a clip from Stitchy Becks. So yeah, that's back in rotation. I don't have a rotation. I got her out. I won't unroll her, but this is September Sapphire Fairy, and I did actually do some of her sleeve there with beads. I didn't get very much done. It's just because there's so many blended threads in there, and I just wasn't feeling it, but she is sort of calling to me, so I will get her out more now, because she is beautiful and the colours are beautiful, so that will be stitched. Then I've got, yeah, Let It Snow Bungalow. Yes, as you can see, I've got a tiny bit of progress, not very much, and yeah, I've got this group, this Facebook group, like I said, it's called XStitch, Winter Snow with Us. You're free to join if you stitch a chalk piece, if you stitch a winter or a snow piece. You're free to join. It's just you have to answer a few questions because I want to know if you're a stitcher. That's basically the only requirement we have. So it's open because some people have started, they said, I've stitched enough snow, I want to stitch like spring. If you stitch spring, it's a chalk piece, come and join us. Because me and Shelley Keyxstitch, we opened this Facebook group so that we can see progress. Like if you're doing the farm, the new fresh eggs farm and that lovely truck, show us, because we want to see it, and we can't do the hashtag Instagram following, it's just too much. So having a Facebook group where there are not so many people in it but we can see progress, that's fun. So we get to see what you're stitching. And Priscilla and Chelsea have joined. They're not posting, but they are watching us, so they'll put a like in or a little comment, and it's nice to see that it's appreciated that we are stitching what Priscilla once had a vision of. So it's nice little group, free to join. I'll link it below. This is the other full coverage project that I'm working on. I've stopped working on for the moment. That's my Evening Star. It's the train and it's full coverage, and yeah, I've been stitching on my Hade, so I put this a bit aside. But it's still going, still like it, still a favourite project. So yeah, put that away. And the last project, I'm really behind on this one, but my temperature garden that you can buy from Stitching Mummy on our Etsy shop. And I sort of lost my itch to stitch on this because this is just not winter. You know, everybody who sees this sort of says, oh, it's blue and it's dark blue and it's cold. No, it's not. January was too warm, on average between 5 and 10 degrees too warm every day. February was too warm. Now this week the temperature's gone down. So the end of February and the beginning of March. Did you know March is starting tomorrow? You know, I don't know where February went. The temperatures have dropped. So we have an average temperature of below 5 degrees below freezing, which is winter. Yay! So because I already was having hay fever. Hay fever started with itchy nose, itchy eyes, I couldn't see, it's absolute nightmare. And then the temperatures dropped. So now we actually have winter. That's why I got my Aran sweater out. It's custom made Aran sweater for me with the patterns that I wanted in the colours that I wanted. I chose this. I've got two. They're great. They're lovely and warm. I'm wearing, I don't know if you can see, I've got a long sleeved sort of t-shirty thing. I've got a t-shirt over that. Then I've got a cashmere jumper on and my Aran sweater, which is lovely and warm, and I've got my knitted scarf because it's freezing. Okay, it's at night it goes below 10, 12, 15 degrees below freezing, and during the day today we had 7 degrees below freezing. So it's finally winter. Unfortunately, I think in the UK it's basic standstill because it snowed. In the Netherlands it snowed. We've got blue sky. We've had blue skies. What day is it today? It's Wednesday. We had blue sky on Saturday, we had blue sky on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It'll be blue sky tomorrow. But at least it's below freezing. It's really freezing outside. I don't mind if it's outside, I don't mind if it's freezing. I've got my Doc Martens, so I'm safe there. They have these air cushions. They're really good because you've got isolated feet. If you've got warm feet, you'll be warm. Put a hat on, you'll be warm. But unfortunately I live in a very cold, well, an old building. So I don't have double glazing. I've got old wooden frames for my windows, and there's basically constant draft because wooden and not isolated, and I can't get, this is the only room, the living room is the only room that's actually got some warmth in it, and it doesn't go below above. It's 19.5 degrees now in here. It doesn't go above that. I can turn my heating up as much as I like. I have to put shutters down, heating on to get some sort of feeling of warmth in here. So most evenings, like when I come home, I try to get something warm inside me, like coffee or tea, and put on another jumper, another layer, and then I'm sitting in front of the TV going like this, and my hands are cold, so I actually sit on my hands to warm them. So you can't really stitch. You can't stitch if you're cold. You can't stitch. But next week it should be 5+ again, so we'll see. But this means I now have to start stitching this because the colours will be going like down, and it'll be winter, even though it's winter in March or winter in end of February. It doesn't matter because this is autumn. That's not winter. So just for, yeah, that's the way that the colours are. They're charted by Stitching Mummy, and you can choose which weather conditions you are in, and the ones that I chose, like this, is not, even though it's blue, it's not cold. And that is my stitching that I had to show. I showed all my Stitchy mail that I got. Lovely stuff. I've mentioned that, yeah, I need to comment on some people's comments. I'm going to do that. Usually it doesn't take me that long, but I comment. You know that I comment. I always comment. I think I've said everything. So that's it from me. I know that I can't believe that Australia's got a heat wave. I know that that's coming again this summer, and I'll be dying. At the moment it feels very far away, but it's not. Yeah. It's now 7 o'clock and I'll have to upload this. I haven't had my supper yet, but that doesn't matter. I think the only thing left is to say goodbye. So, bye everybody, happy stitching, and join the Facebook group if you're doing a chalk piece. Watch the people I link below. Comment, I'll answer. Stay warm if you've got winter. Stay cool if you're in Australia. Bye. See you in 2 weeks. Happy stitching.